juuksuritele ja täna me räägime Annaga siis kõigest sellest, mis on teda inspireerinud, kuidas ta on üldse tee juuksurimaailma jõudnud. Muidugi puudutame ka praegust eriolukorda, kuidas see on mõjutanud praegust tööd ja kuidas ta näeb, et see jääb mõjutama meid edaspidi salongitöös ja koolitusmaastikul. Aga eelkõige on rõõm saada Annaga tuttavaks ja nagu me eelnevas infos juba teile teada andsime, siis intervjuu toimub inglise keeles, aga Anna tegelikult oskab eesti keelt ka. Ja te võite kõik oma küsimusi keeles ja me saame siin kindlasti üheskoos niimoodi hakkama, et saame need inglise keelde tõlkida ja ka vastupidi. Nii et, yeah, let's change the languages now. Hi, Anna.
Yeah, okay. Hi. Okay, let's practice English.
Good.
And I'll practice Estonian because I've forgotten already Estonian and I'm so ashamed for that, but sorry. I'll try my best.
But I think English is actually a hairdressing language. So even people that don't speak English very well here in Estonia, they still know a lot of words when it comes to cutting the hair or coloring the hair, different techniques and so on.
Well, I was amazed when I visited Estonia. I don't visit Estonia very often. I visit Estonia probably once in 2 years to see my mom because my mom is still living here. And a couple of years ago when I came to Estonia, back to Estonia, I was so amazed that everybody speaks English here. I was so shocked. I was like, wow, how did it happen? Like in 10 years, everybody just started speaking English in such a well level and fantastic. Yeah. And I've forgotten Estonian. That's not good.
Yeah, but now you will get very well connected with the Estonian hairdressers commune here. So you can start practicing again.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I'm shy. When I'm speaking Estonian, I'm like, oh.
We will know you better, Anna.
Okay.
Can we first ask, like, who are you? How would you introduce yourself at the moment? What are your roles in life at the moment?
Okay. Well, if I will speak about myself, I'd say I'm a very calm and peaceful person, and I like spirituality, and mostly in my life I dedicate myself to spiritual things, to practicing yoga, to be at nature. You know, I love sea, I love animals, I love people, but I don't like crowds, you know, so this kind of quite shy person. And I like to do things with my hands. So I always did when I was a little girl. I used to just be more likely on my own and just do something with the knife and wood and, you know, like carve some nice things from it. So that's me really. And hairdressing, my mom was a hairdresser, my sister was a hairdresser, and they had a salon, and I just ended up in the salon. I just had nowhere to go and nowhere to earn money. So that was my income, my first income I started to get from cutting hair. And I enjoyed it because it's, again, working with material, working with hands and scissors and making something out of something. And I liked it. I really never liked working in the salon because it was always crowded, and I never liked this kind of crowded environment. So I just wanted to teach. I know teaching it's again in front of a lot of people, but it's mostly being in your inner world. It's mostly sharing something what you know. It's mostly like kind of giving. So that's more attractive to me.
Yeah, and of course you don't, I believe you don't do it like daily. Of course you have your intense periods of trainings, but then you take some time off to prepare and to recharge again. Am I right?
Yeah, then I go to nature and then I spend time somewhere near sea or in the forest or in some different towns, you know, traveling. Yeah.
So you create the balance. So.
I try to, yeah. And recently I started studying music, guitar, and it takes a lot of time. It does take a lot of time. I never knew it will take so much time of my life, practicing. Because when I was studying hairdressing, the technical part of it, what I'm teaching now, it took nearly 5 years of my life to learn that properly. And I was working every day from morning to evening, and I didn't have any time for myself at all. And working in Vidal Sassoon, it's really tough. It takes so much time of your life. You only have maybe 2 or 3 weeks off in a
I
year.
heard it's like the army. Am I right?
It is worse than army. I think in the army at least can walk and talk and you be somewhere outside, and here you're always in the room with people and you're cutting hair non-stop, and you're always talking. It's mentally really tough. It's quite difficult, yeah. But it's an experience. It gave me the best experience in my entire life. I learned what is discipline, like proper discipline. Even now, when I'm in my own kitchen, everything is perfectly in symmetry. Every bottle is just like in the perfect place. It wasn't like that before. I was quite messy.
So do you agree that somehow, if you want to be somehow like free, you have to have discipline?
If you want to be free, you have to have a discipline.
Yeah.
It's related. It's totally related. If you in chaos in your own mind, then the chaos will follow you everywhere, and you will try to escape from it, but you won't be able to escape from it. It's like trying to escape from your own body. It's like, hello, it doesn't work. Yeah, I couldn't understand what's going on. Why am I working like a slave, like constantly in this circle, spinning around and have no money, have no freedom, have no joy? Yeah, the discipline gave me that freedom. Yeah,
cool.
It's great. Mm-hmm.
Can I go back to the childhood, or let's put it, well, I will ask you a question. Like, can you remember your first hairdressing experience? Was it
Yes, I do.
or mom?
Yeah.
Who was
Yes, my mom. Yeah, I was cutting my mom's hair. She just told me, like, can you cut my hair, please? I was like, well, what do you mean? How am I gonna do that? I don't know how to do that. I know I spent all my life with you in this salon, but actually I have no sense of technique or whatsoever. But she was telling me how to pull the hair, where to pull the hair, and how to hold them and what to do, and I did it, and it was okay. Yeah, I think it's just this kind of subconscious memory. When you're watching something over and over and over and over, you just become that without even this body memory, without even experience. You will be able to do that, maybe badly, but still you will do it.
But do you remember how old were you at that time?
16, I think. Maybe 14. I'm not sure.
Cool.
Something like that. Yeah.
Really young.
Yeah, quite young, yeah.
But can I ask you, how long were you connected with Vidal Sassoon Academy?
I started studying with Vidal Sassoon in 2008.
Okay.
And I left in 2011. So, oh no, sorry, no. No, I'm lying. 2006. So in total, 5 years.
Yeah.
I can be wrong with numbers. Yeah.
5 years
in total.
I'm really bad at numbers myself, so that's
I'm forgetting instantly.
I just
all the dates.
That the other people are not good with the numbers as well. This is why I'm asking.
Yeah, you're in my team.
But if you think about your teachers, can you name any special teachers that most thankful?
Yeah. My one and only teacher who taught me proper technique, and I was always watching him, and I was always admiring him, and I still admire him, and I think he's an amazing person, and his level of discipline, it's outrageous. I could never reach that. My discipline compared to his discipline, it's nothing. It's Johnny Atana, yeah. Johnny Atana and his academy called Alilon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he was my teacher and he taught me on staff training. Of course, I had amazing teachers as well. The person who I love to watch in academy, it was few people, Dov, Sylvia, Mark Hayes, all technical people who cut hair with perfection. And I was always the one who wanted to be that perfection. So I try to spend as much time as I can just watching them, no matter what show they would give or if they would just stand and cut their client's hair. I would just be watching nonstop because it's this kind of recording thing. I know how it works. The more you watch it, you become that.
Yeah.
You will become as the people you surround yourself with. It's the rule.
That's true. And I believe, I don't know who's responsible for that, but somehow life will be the right people around you. Like,
yeah, that's why people who know that rule, they will use it in life and they will get benefits from it. Sometimes people live their life unconsciously. They just keep making mistakes what they parents did, and they don't even notice that. And we all do that. But more we will become awakened from this kind of, sleeping mode, then more and more we will start making our life into a conscious life. And it is interesting. It's like a skill. It's really interesting to play that game.
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. But if we go back to the early years when you studied in hairdressing, how long did you actually work in a salon? Or how long was that period? Or do you still work in a
3.
salon now and then?
I worked in a salon before Sassoon 12 years. And then when I got to Sassoon, I worked there 3 years in Manchester salon.
Mm-hmm.
And then my academy time was nearly 2 years, maybe even less. It wasn't that long. But the main experience I got in the salon, and I think salon is the experience. It's like the experience because it's tough, and it gave me everything what I know now. In academy, it's very creative. It's very interesting. You're surrounded by fame. A lot of people want to stand next to you, and it's all kind of it's all kind of ego trap. But salon is the real life.
So, yeah, both experiences teach you a lot, I believe.
Yeah, sure.
In the meanwhile, I just want to bring out a comment that Kertti is joining us here and saying that you're looking great.
I like her mask picture.
Yeah.
It's a trend now.
Up to date, trendy look.
Yeah.
Trends 2020. But tell me about your own project now. We know that you have your own system, which is called Matrix 9. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a great, let me put it here on the screen as well. You have a beautiful, beautiful web page. I'll put it at this mode. And yeah, it's easily discoverable from the page as well. But yeah, how would you describe the system and how did you ended up creating your own brand?
Yeah, thank you. I'm the person who don't like to work for somebody. I'm the person who like to create, like to make something new, have challenges. So I felt at one point I just felt that I want to get separated and I want to do something myself. And I started, and it wasn't easy. It was really difficult, and I felt lost. I felt like, oh my God, I'm like a fish out of water. All those people I stayed with those creative people, talented people who inspired me every day, and now I'm just nowhere and I don't know what to do, what's the next step to take. And slowly, I just started doing what I like to do. I was looking for the models on the streets. I was cutting hair at home, making my own videos, and started placing those videos on YouTube channel. And then at some point, I just noticed that, wow, it looks like people like watching it, and looks like getting more and more followers on my YouTube channel. And then one day people started contacting me and saying, "Oh, don't you want to come and teach us?" And I was like, "Well, why not? Yeah, that's what I like to do." And that's how it started. And because I speak Russian, obviously, so it's my mother language. And
Привет, Anna! Ronaldo.
Привет. And and that's why Russian market became the main market for me, because I noticed that in Russia, people are very hungry for the knowledge,
But they're
and they
eager to learn.
eager to learn, and they haven't got that knowledge because of the history, the Soviet Union, and the closed borders, and no information, like deficit of information. And when I got there, it just happened that one person who invited me to my first seminar in Russia, it was a Russian girl, she invited me, and I gave a seminar in Russia. And it just started. It was just like non-stop, more and more and more and more, and that's it. It just became my everyday job. And obviously, I started teaching people there as I was taught in academy. I was following the same steps, because that's what I knew. I didn't know anything else. I just started. And then I noticed that people, when they follow in my teaching, and when I teach them for 5 days, after that, they go away and they come back after 1 year, and they don't know anything, and they can't do it, and they can't follow, and they can't cut hair. And I was like, well, wait a minute, how am I going to change that situation? It doesn't work. And wait a minute, Sassoon exists from 60s, and why nobody can cut graduation in the world except Sassoon? It should be something which doesn't allow people to grasp that knowledge. And obviously, as we all understand, if you learn something difficult, it needs a system, and it needs a certain period of time to develop that body memory to being able to do that. It's like playing guitar or playing a piano.
Yeah.
You won't be able to learn it within 5 days. It's just impossible, because your body won't be able to remember that quick, those movements, and make them so perfectly correct. So I realized that I can't do it using life models. It's impossible, because life model has personality. Life model has different lengths. And, live person wants what this person wants. You can't just force that person to have graduated bob, or to have, for instance, like round graduation or short layers. If she doesn't want that, you won't be able to do that. But if clients who came to learn from you wants to cut certain haircut, then you're stuck, because client want one thing and then model wants another thing, and it's just like, what can I do? So yes, we started using mannequin heads. And then when you're using a mannequin, you can show to the student whole haircuts, fundamental haircuts. You can explain every diagram on the mannequin head. You can show it, you can draw it. The time is your friend. Nobody is stressing you, and everything is absolutely fine. And what I did, I just separated combinations and basic fundamental shapes. And I just positioned those basic fundamental shapes within a matrix 9. So it's round, triangular, yes, and square, 3 geometrical fundamental shapes, and then line, graduation, and layers. And if you put them all together, so for instance, line can be round, triangle, and square, graduation can be round, triangle, and square, and same with layers, then you will end up with this number 9. So it is only 9 diagrams, not only 9 shapes. You have to learn in your head, basically in your head, just following the steps, no creativity there at all. You're very limited. You're telling what your trainer tell you to do, and you just do it again and again and again and again. Like with music, you playing this chord again and again and again and again till your fingers are just remembering it, and you're not even watching. The same thing with that. And then it needs approximately 1 year for our body to remember everything in a high standard. And then after that, you will be able to combine those shapes. You will be able to add disconnections. You will be able to build the shapes within asymmetry. So you will be just your own master. You will be able to control yourself. You will not need any trainer anymore. You need to dedicate yourself just for a year, and then you're free. That's the ideology behind it.
We have some people behind the scenes. Kertti is just sending the message out that you are the most inspiring teacher ever. And that's not
so
Kertti,
much.
that's some other people from behind the scenes. Kertti is just the person who shares the message. And we have Aili here commenting, I love the basic of the haircuts. Good explanation. So she agrees with you. And I know Aili has been to Vidal Sassoon Academy as well. So you have something in common.
Yeah, it is my favorite place in hairdressing world, Vidal Sassoon Academy. It's my home, I'd say. Yeah, everything what I learned in there, thanks to that place.
But we know that so far we have been talking about cutting, but let me put it that way. Do you still do coloring?
No.
You're only focusing on the cutting, yeah?
The thing is, because when you get to the academy, you will be asked, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a stylist or do you want to be a colorist? And obviously my choice was cutting hair, because I like this kind of sense of material, cutting and making.
Handcrafts, like you said, back to the childhood.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I did color 12 years before my life was like before Sassoon and after Sassoon. So yes, before I used to cut and color, and it was just the first step in my hairdressing career. And I did both, but I think I didn't do both well enough, because when you split, you're obviously not as good you can be still good, but you won't be perfect. And my personality is like, I'm always trying to be perfect. This is the problem of my life.
Yeah, that's what they say, that you can't do many things and do it like really, really good. You have to choose.
Yeah, you have to choose. Yeah. Yes, but I think hairdressing it's kind of, you can do both. You can do cut and color, and if you like it, you should do it. Some people just don't like color, but they have to do color. And then I think you should think, well, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I can build a clientele who just have a really good haircut, and I will just cut hair. You just have to maybe find the place where you can achieve that, and then just do what you love. I think it's more important.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm actually the one who enjoys doing both. A lot of my, I still do once a week salon work, and I do both men and women, cutting and coloring. And my clients, they always, like not always, but very often ask me, like, if you have to choose, what would you go for? Like only cutting or coloring?
So
and I'm like,
you can't choose.
Yeah. Let's say like maybe 5 years ago, I would answer coloring, but now maybe even cutting, but they are still like very balanced. I still enjoy doing both. I like the variety sort of.
Oh,
but I think
good.
you can have a lot of variety moments when it comes to cutting as well.
Sure. Yeah, it is a lot of variety. And it's kind of, to me, it was more comfortable, because I don't have to jump from one to another. I can just do what I do, and it kind of flows. So it builds a certain system, and because with color it was maybe a little bit stressful for me because I wasn't that good in color. Maybe if I'd learned color in Sassoon as well, then I would be better timing wise, but it was quite unpredictable. Same with haircut. I only have this experience, you see, before Sassoon. That's why it's difficult to compare with now. So I used to remember that if I want to achieve certain color, I don't achieve it. And I'm like, wow, surprise, what I gotta do now? And then you have to do something, but the next client already in. And then it's like, whoa. Yeah, so when you are in the system and everything is organized, then you don't have those moments. I hated those moments, when you have this
These
surprise
little
moment.
surprise moments, not
Yes,
the good
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, so when you learn it in a professional way, you haven't got the surprise moments anymore, and maybe it's making your life a bit boring.
Yeah, in some ways,
Yeah,
but
if you're
yeah,
still enjoying those surprise moments, that's perfect. I think we need to enjoy life. That's the
yeah.
that's
Whatever
the
you
deal.
enjoy, it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
sure. If you stop
Yeah.
enjoying that, then you think how to change that. That's it. That's how it is.
But can I go back to your systems? Let's say I would really like to take part of your trainings. So, what are the options, and how is the training built up? How many
Hmm.
days does it last?
Hmm.
How can I sign?
Yeah,
Where is it taking place? What are the options?
yeah. Well, we can organize it in Estonia. That would have been much easier for you and somebody who wants to follow. And it lasts 5 days. It starts from the longest length. It starts from line, triangular line. First day. On the first day, we do all the theory. Then we do line. Then we do demo as well on the first day. On the
Mm-hmm.
second day, we go shorter in length. So we do triangular layers, then we do square graduation, and then next day go on and on and on. So we do 2 diagrams and 2 shapes within a day, and we only take 2 hours for the practice of one shape because it's quite complicated and it's quite nerve-wracking because it's a very new experience for people, and they feel really sweating, like they really go into tension because it's totally new experience. People think, oh my god, this is a hairdressing, now I understand what is a hairdressing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
before you're quite relaxed, you can stand wherever however you want, you can chat, you can
But
drink a
no, now
coffee.
you're in the army with Anna.
No, not like that. It seems like that in the beginning. It seems like that in the beginning, but then more the knowledge you have, more free you become. It's the opposite. It's like the illusion, the trick.
Yeah, I agree. I've been there, done that, and shared it with my students as well. And they always say that at first the cutting system I got from a brand that I work with and I'm giving, it also has a nice, very simple system. And the feedback the students give is that at first it looked like it's going to take much more time and
Mhm,
focus.
mhm.
But after a while, Aili knows what I'm talking about. Aili, who commented
Yeah,
here before. After a while, you actually become faster
yeah, sure.
in your
Of
work because
course.
you have the system, you have the basics.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
So the well
System
spent
makes you free.
time pays off, or how to put it correctly into English. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for now, for instance, my life, it looks like that I'm working for maybe a month and then I'm free for 2 months. So it's a really nice rhythm. And if I want to make it more fuller, I can. If I want to make it less, I can. And I can control it. And that's what I never had before. I was totally in the routine of day to day happening of something where I can't even stop that. It was quite shocking to me when I ended up in this kind of circle. I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. I don't want that. Yeah.
But it's a great moment when you realize what you actually want and what you don't want in your life.
Yeah, it
And
takes
I'm really
time.
happy that you brought out this topic, because I was about to ask, like, can you describe your normal work week? But as we just found out, it's not a week, it's more like a month. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have four groups in a row. So it's the first group 5 days, then the second group 5 days, the next group 5 days, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes on. If I want, I can take 5 groups or 6 groups. It depends how I feel physically, because it's quite tough. It's talking every day. It takes a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and you need to restore that energy. That's why I'm restoring it for 2 weeks or 2 months. Depends how I want it. And I work from 11 to 3 o'clock, so it's quite a short day.
Mm-hmm.
We take only 2 hours for one shape, and then we
Yeah.
have 1 hour break, and then 2 hours for the next shape, and then we
Mm-hmm.
go home. You don't need to study more. You only need to study that amount for you to be able to absorb the information. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand it. Your brain will just say no. It will
It will
stop.
explode in a way
It
as well.
will. Yes, yes. So, it's really interesting because I heard the same from my guitar teacher. I asked him how many hours a day I have to practice, because I'm like a perfectionist. How many
Yeah,
hours
yeah, yeah.
a day I have to
Exactly.
practice? And he said, "You're crazy. 15 minutes." I was like, "What?" He
Really?
said, "Yes." He said, "You're actually not learning while you're doing it. You're learning while you're not doing it."
Yeah,
And it
I
was,
actually understand. I've
yeah.
come to a realization with this topic when it becomes to training, that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't help if you go like running every day for a very long distance.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just resting helps you.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it about the sport as well, and I heard the most healthiest routine for the person is to run, for instance, once a day, but very fast, only 2 minutes. Like 2 minutes, you really speed up and you run really fast, and then in the evening the same, before not before sleep, a bit earlier, so you won't be too awake. And it works for the whole systems, for the heart, for the blood system, for every system, nerve system, really well. And some people, they run for hours, or they practice and train for a couple of hours every day. It's quite harming, actually.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
depends. Yeah, why do you go running? Is it something you want to just do as an exercise, or do you have a ultra marathon planned? Uh,
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends what you really want. Depends
but to come back
your
to the
goal.
working weeks or the training weeks, like you mentioned, the training lasts from 11 till 3 o'clock normally. So
5 days. Yeah.
can you maybe share the day when you have a training? So how will your morning start? What time do you wake
Hmm.
up? And is there any special rituals you do before the training and afterwards as
Yeah.
well?
I do 2 hours yoga every morning at my hotel, or depends where I stay. And then I do morning meditation, and I do evening meditation after work, and it really helps me to stabilize my emotional balance, because when you are with people, and it's quite a lot of people, and they roll, had a phone call, somebody called me. Sorry. Yeah, so when it rotates, you become mentally very tense. So yoga helped me a lot to stabilize my health, and to stabilize my emotional balance, because when I was working a lot for years, traveling, lots of flights, hundreds of flights, then I just started noticing that I'm losing my health, and I'm not emotionally stable anymore, and I just didn't like myself. I was like, what am I going to do now? I need to do something about it, because otherwise I won't be able to work. I won't be able to enjoy. I stopped enjoying my job. And then I started practicing yoga, and yoga just changed my life. It's not an advertisement of yoga. It's just my personal experience.
But I do the same. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. I feel you in a way.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm glad that more and more people started getting into that routine. I think it will make world much calmer and better place.
Yeah, especially if you are actually communicating a lot with people, what teaching is all about. It's sharing your knowledge, and also a lot of communication, and making sure that we are on the same page. And then you just need to take time off.
Yeah, actually, I can understand why yoga happened in India. I can understand that, because they just always have been overcrowded.
Yeah, they have so
billions of people.
Around.
Yeah, you won't be able to find just quiet place in town in India. Oh my God, it's so busy.
Create the quiet place for yourself, sort of.
Yeah, so that's why they just probably thought of the system, how to help themselves. They did.
Very cool. But can I bring up one question and go back to the techniques, the cutting techniques? Because Aili has a question for you. What is still the most challenging technique for you? Is it line, graduation, or layers? These are many challenges for you.
In the beginning, they all challenging. Trust me, the layer it's no less than the graduation. You know, it's the same. It's much even harder sometimes than graduation, because graduation, when you cut in a graduation, your body is fixed in one place. You're standing in front of the square, and then you just pulling hair towards yourself, and you kind of stabilized. When you cut in layer, you have to do one step at a time to create this round silhouette. So you're always moving, and when you're moving, you're losing the balance, you're losing this kind of body position, correct body position.
Like working on the, what's it called, like rope? No? Like in a circus?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. So when you just started learning, everything is difficult, because every single technique has its own difficulties, and you have to grasp them. The most difficult is elevation and over direction, not the techniques. Techniques are built by elevation and graduation. So there are two things you have to learn, and you have to place it inside your body language, kind of body posture, body memory. Everything it's here recorded. Once it's recorded here, it doesn't matter what technique you do, you will do it easily, because you're stable. Every movement is exactly the same. You're like a robot. That's it. You're free now. You can do whatever you want. It takes time.
Actually, yeah, it's weird how a very strict system gives you the freedom.
Yes. Yeah.
It's weird to put these contrasted words to the same sentence, pretty much.
Yes. Look at big singers. They sing freely, and their voice just goes up and down and makes different shapes and textures, and the same. How many hours behind that freedom? It's all illusion. We think somebody is talented, and we think, oh, this person is just talented. No, this person is freak. This person was just doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, because you're like, yes, I will achieve it. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And you do it till you just forget yourself. You're like, you are in some sort of concentration or meditation, whatever. You just do it and do it.
Like a hamster in the what do you call it? You know, hamsters, they have the ring.
Yeah,
and run.
Yeah, you need to put yourself into that circle consciously.
Yeah.
If you are there unconsciously, this is bad. If you're there
Free.
consciously,
Yeah.
you're free out of it.
Yeah.
That's the trick. That yoga explains it actually. So you
Yeah,
know.
to come back to the yoga, when we were talking about your rituals, then Evie said that thank you for sharing, Anna. So it
Thank
was
you.
really interesting to hear your practice. But let's go back to the free time. Like I know there's yoga, and you have mentioned your other love in the life. It's music. How did
Yeah.
you ended up with music? What is your
I
relationship with music?
I used to sing all my life from being a child. I remember myself always singing. My parents used to tell me, like, shut up, please. Stop. And my neighbors would be like, oh, we heard you singing. I was like, oh my God, because I was so shy. I couldn't sing in front of people. I was just singing on my own.
But
And
can I ask one extra question? When you did it as a kid, were you doing it still in front of the mirror with the microphone?
no,
A
just
spray bottle in your hands or something?
no, no. I just remembered melodies very easily, memorize them quickly. I could hear the melody and I would just repeat it straight away. So I have it from the birth, this kind of hearing thing. I don't know how to say it in English correctly. This terminology. So yes, and then in school, I've been told to follow this path and to go to Quarry. Yes,
Yeah.
how is it? Quarry. Yes, and I did, and then solfeggio in Russian is solfeggio. I'm not sure in English, probably
In
the same
Estonian,
way.
it's
In
solfeggio.
Estonian, same. But I hated it. I hated it. It
Same.
was so difficult. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. And then I wanted to play piano, but we didn't have a piano at home. And my mom said, oh, you have an accordion, so just we have it and just use that. And it was bigger than me, and I hated that instrument as well. And I just said, I hate music. I don't want to do that. That's it. This is my statement. That's why I never followed that. And then when I was
Can I ask
20,
one extra question? What is
yeah,
your relationship with accordions now?
I hate it. Still don't like that instrument at all. It's just my past experience. That's why it's nothing bad with that instrument.
So what happened after the accordion?
I just stopped. I didn't. It was a protest. I stopped. And then one teacher in school told me that I'm missing the notes, and I was like, me? I'm missing the notes? I hate you. So I was very, very difficult child. That's why I just harmed myself with my own hands, and that's why I didn't follow that path. Otherwise, I would have been a singer or musician for sure, because I do have that kind of little gift in me. I do, and I find it very easy to do. And I always been telling to myself that, oh, it's too late now. It's too late. The train is gone now. That's it. I can only wave. I'm too old. But then when I just felt bored, when I couldn't do my job anymore, I just felt I can't do that anymore. It's too much repetition. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And I decided to just whatever, I'll just start singing. I want to do it because I'm always doing it. Why am I not trying to do it more professionally and enjoy that? And I found a vocal teacher in Moscow, and I was going every day after training, after the seminars. I was going to have those lessons, vocal lessons, and I loved it. I loved expressing myself and singing and trying and recording in the studio. And then my teacher said, well, why don't we record an album? And I was like, you will have a goal. At least you will follow the goal. It will be more interesting, to you. And I was like, yes, why not? And we did it. It was fun. I stopped now. I had kind of enough at the moment, and I'm learning guitar. I'm practicing guitar now, and I enjoy that. But I will start singing again. It will be on and off. It's a hobby. It's not a professional thing. Well, maybe next thing will be a concert. I think we will do a concert soon, maybe next year or after another year when I feel confident enough to be on the stage. I don't feel confident enough yet.
That's cool. That's cool. Looking forward to the concert. Let us know then, please.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just I'm laughing. It's only a hobby. It's fun.
Okay, but I'm gonna guide you back to the work mode now, to the hairdressing. Like
Okay.
if we can name a work mode, but just let's go back to hairdressing. If I checked out your web page, I just love the images so much. How do you create all these cool images? How hard work is it for you? How to create a nice image out of the beautiful art you have created with your cutting techniques?
Well, image, when you see the image, it's a lot of work behind it because, for instance, to create a haircut in the salon, it takes 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, maximum 1 hour and a half if it's a very thick, long hair. And if you create an image for the collection, it takes 4 hours. First of all, you need to find a really good model, and this is the hardest part.
That's the hardest part, I agree.
Yeah, it's the hardest. So once you found that model, you have to make her agree to have what you want to do, and it's another hard thing.
Yeah.
Really difficult. And then next, you need to be very precise and concentrated. So you don't talk, you just concentrate. You go into very high level of concentration because everything have to be perfect, and the silhouettes, the outlines, it's a lot of work with details. You don't do it in a salon. And you prepare the shape, and then on the day of shooting, you dry the shape again, and you polish the shape over and over and over. It takes you sometimes 2 hours to just polish the shape to this level of what you see on the picture, this standard of purity. It's no Photoshop there. You can see only Photoshop. We use Photoshop for colors because it's really difficult in Russia to find a good
I just
colorist.
want to point out that if you want to see the images we are talking about, please check out Anna's webpage. Such incredible work. But yeah,
Thank you.
it was so clean.
Yeah, it's just it's this perfection. It's work on details, 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 details. It's my teacher. He taught me that. He was like, pay attention on details. I'll show him my shape, and he'll be like, what's that? I'm like, what do you mean? The line. Look at the line. I'm like, yes, I see the line. He's like, can't you not see that? I was like, what? So he was pointing at those little details over and over and over. So eventually,
Nanomillimeters, yeah? Or
sorry?
micro and nanomillimeters.
Yes. And then you start seeing them, because before you don't even see them. If your eye is not trained to see them, and only teacher can train you to see them. And it's the final step within grasping the shape the way it is in the end. In the beginning, you're only learning a diagram, and then you're learning how to position a diagram on the mannequin head or model's head. And then you learn in only basic things, how to stand, where to pull the section, how to control the parallel between the section and the fingers, how to keep this perpendicular, your hair should be perpendicular to the section and the cutting line. And it's all really difficult. So you don't think about details. Details come much later. The understanding of silhouette comes much later. And that's why it takes so long. It takes long. But, it's important to understand you should go through it because it's your profession. You need to realize that finally you should go through it because it's challenging, it's really interesting, and it makes you to grow. For when you're growing, you feel yourself good. It's a really good feeling. Yes. And obviously, when you blow dry the hair, when you polish all the details, and then you don't use any fixing products, any styling products. You only use some oil, hair oil, to make the hair smooth and shiny. And hair should be moving, because you always change the position when you're taking a picture, and you're placing them into certain places where you think it will be more likely, better on the image. And then the photographer, this is another thing. This is another difficult thing, to find a really good photographer who will be, you will be his eyes, and he will be only pressing the button, but he will position the lights and everything the way it will show everything you want the audience to see. And it's a collaboration. You can't do it on your own. It's impossible.
So do you have your favorite photographer you always go to, or you still use different photographers?
I do have my favorite, and all the photographs you see on my website have been made by Niyaz. It's his nickname, Niyaz. Well, it's his name. He doesn't use family name when he's positioning himself, so it's Niyaz. And he's a Russian photographer, and he's very talented, and he's really good. But he does use Photoshop, and my new idea is not to use Photoshop at all, to show the real pictures. And if you look at Amish collection, it was done by Niyaz, but we just didn't do any Photoshop there at all. There's no Photoshop there.
That was
at
incredible.
All. So yes, this is my idea, because I'm quite upset over the fact that Photoshop started killing the profession, because you can make a really unclear line, and then it's so easy to just make it straight. So, and people think, oh, it's been photoshopped, but you did it with your own hands. And I think people should know the difference between Photoshop line and real line.
Yeah, that's a really great thought. I like that idea.
Yeah. So
I hope the whole world will move to that place. So if we are talking about future, we are in a very different situation at the moment. So what do you think? What will happen now if the salons will be opened again, and how will it change all the hairdressing and also the hairdressing training industry?
Well, we can see the tendency now of people moving online and teaching online. Everything is taught in those 3-4 weeks online. Everything, even gymnastics. I heard from my friend that her daughter keeps studying gymnastics at home. Just how? I don't understand how. It's such a tiny place. How do you do all those complex, difficult movements within your room?
People are very creative nowadays.
Yeah. So I think it's quite a good tendency, and I think, for instance, if I will think about my experience, if somebody comes to my training unprepared, it takes me 4 days to just position his brain in the right direction. And normally people, when they come unprepared with their past experience, they compare in their past experience with the new experience, and they're getting stuck with that, and they can't move forward. They have to become like children. They have to come with full trust,
open themselves again.
And it's not easy. It's really impossible, I'd say. It's impossible. Only children can do that. Grown-up person can't do that, because the baggage is too long and too big, and too many experiences, too many opinions, too many options. Everything is too many. To learn something.
How to change it? Or do you have any tips how to change it? Or it's you already mentioned?
It's no tips. You can't. It's the physiology of our brain. We can't change it. Yeah. It will be that way. And to change that, the person have to put himself into the environment with this terminology, with this movements, with this making things that way, I'd say. And online, it's a really good tool for that. So for instance, if you see on my academy, you can find exactly the same course online, Matrix 9, and it has combinations there, it has creative work there, it has everything, and it lasts 6 months. So if the person buys the course and practice at home and listening to the terminology and trying to make basic things already at home, trying to already understand those things at home and comes to the practice, then it's more likely on the day one he will start understanding what I'm talking about, and then within 5 days he'll take a really big amount of knowledge. But if he comes empty, if he comes with his past experience, he'll be like, but what if, but why, but, and this but will just stop his brain to work in the right direction. And on the day 4, he'll be like, oh my God, I got it, but the time is gone now. Now I have to go again. And it's another amount of money. So I already kind of just spent my money. But it's not really, because you got the experience for your money. You realize that, okay, now you got it. So now you get to go, again into the same course and study it, but from the day one. So to avoid those traps, to avoid those mistakes, I would recommend to prepare yourself using the online academy, studying it at least a month, and then go to the course, study it with the teacher, and then go home and then practice using the online academy again. Because without that, you will remember everything what you studied within 5 days. You can't memorize it. It's too many information, and you will make mistakes and you will not learn properly.
Yeah, and at the moment, it's perfect time to join the online courses.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah. So it's a good option. Merike is joining us and saying, Anna, you are so inspiring. Do you think perfection is reachable, or the more you do, the more you know what you are capable of? Love your work.
Thank you. Well, perfection, good in certain amount, and I think it should be a limit within perfection, because eventually it can kill you. If you are a perfectionist, eventually you'll just kill yourself with that perfection. It will become a disease, I'd say. And
Sometimes
some people
just have to accept some stuff.
Yeah, you just have to accept that you have to raise yourself to a certain level of quality, and you stay there and you keep that amount and you kind of float. This is the limit, and you're somewhere here. This is the middle, and you don't drop lower than the middle. And you're there because you're a human being. You can't be perfect all the time. It's natural.
Even the weather can affect your day.
Of course, everything. You fall out with your husband or wife or child, and then you're already not yourself, and you can't even concentrate. You are there with the thoughts, oh, why you told me this? Oh my God, how am I gonna do it now? And like things, emotional things can affect us dramatically. And yes, if your body remembers the movements, if your body already memorizes the movements, even in your worst day, you will still do a really good job.
Cool. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. Thanks, Merike.
Yeah. So yeah, I do agree, and I think most of us are probably always trying to give our best. It's just you have to accept that days can be different, and I don't know, the moon is different, and so many different.
Especially the moon. Yes, moon is very important. Affects us all the time. But yes, if you are professional, outside things will not affect you so much because your level of concentration is very high, and that's why you keep doing things in a really good way. And if you're not professional, I mean, if you're more visual, then they do affect you more. That's the difference. And more surprises in your life. Bad surprises, not good surprises. Good surprises are good, but sometimes we have bad surprises, and this is not good. Sometimes I remember when my client, I'd finish my client, and then client would stand up, go to take a coat, and I see that it's few hair kind of hanging behind the ear, and I'm like, whoa.
So how did you manage?
This is so embarrassing. How am I gonna tell her to go back now and cut it off, because it's like, no, what to do now? Things like that, like basic things like that. And yes, what I learned to pay attention on details when my trainer, and Johnny told me, just comb the hair behind the ear, every haircut, just like that, and see if anything hanging there or not, and then cut it off, and then let it go. This is the final step in every haircut you take. And when I was cutting hair visually, I never thought about it. I just never thought about those simple things. But when you're learning from somebody who has this massive experience, those little simple things, they give you so much. Yeah.
And do you also agree that it actually makes you more professional to actually say that, hey, I made a mistake. I will ask you to come back to the chair and let's fix it now.
I wouldn't agree. No,
No?
I wouldn't agree. It's good to be honest. It's better to be honest than not to say anything, and then this person will find this piece of hair at home. This is much better if you do that. But if you are a professional, it should be very little percentage of those
That is
mistakes in your work. Yeah. It's just we should kind of aim towards that quality. So professional will check everything. It's like the painter, when he paints the wall, if it's a professional painter, you will come home and you will take his job and you'll be like, well, this is just like perfect. I can't see any mistake. It's just perfect. This is the way I wanted it. And you're just so happy as a client. But if some person who is not that professional comes to do that, or you do it yourself, you'll be finding those mistakes over and over again, and you'll be like, oh, one more, oh, another one, okay, oh, I don't want to see that person again next time. I don't want to work with him. So that's how it is. People will forgive you your little mistakes, obviously, but they remember them. They do. And if they have no choice, they will come to you. But if they do have choice, and somebody on the market will come up with much better technique, he will follow that person. But some people are very well, they stick with one person just because they just think, oh my God, I can't upset her.
Yeah.
She was my hairdresser for
Yeah.
so many years. I can't do that to her. They just kind of those good people, and they exist. They exist. But I think we should try to make our profession into a much higher standard than it is now. Because you hear from the clients, and clients say, well, I'm looking for a good hairdresser. It's not easy. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point of view. Can I ask you one more time? You already shared one, let's say, a small mistake from the past, but do you remember any big failures when you started as a hairdresser? Like, what has been your biggest surprise moments, and not the good surprise moments back then?
Yeah,
and
mostly with color.
Like good lessons.
Mostly with color. With color, I couldn't understand how do you change this type of hair into this color, and how do you? It was too difficult. It was like maths, and I hated maths when I was little, or chemistry. I couldn't understand that, and because I didn't have a good school. Same with with hair. I could learn things through watching, and I was really good at watching and copying. But with color, it doesn't work that way, So yes, I had really, really like lots of mistakes with color, and I don't remember any in particular. I just remember the feeling like, oh, this is not what I wanted, and now I have to lie. I have to say, yeah, you will wash your hair 5 times and it will be much better. Things like that. I couldn't stand saying that. But what can you say? It's already there. It's already on the client's head. It's too late. And with haircuts, yeah, it's going too short. It's not knowing the basic fundamental things. For instance, like with layers, you always start cutting line, and line gives you the control within the elevation
Mm-hmm.
and the distance between the head,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where you position your cutting angle. And I used to do the opposite. I used to cut layers first and put the line in the end. And that's why I was ending all the time with not the lengths what my clients wanted. And it's again like, it's okay, it's really good for you. It suits you even more. It's fine.
But
And some people would,
clients, the length is like very, very important. They can
it is
tell the one
yeah,
centimeter difference really is.
it's the first question you ask when you
Yeah.
give a consultation. First, what is the length you desire? And can we go can we go shorter than this length? If not, you should not.
Yeah, but I've been trying to act that way since I started as a hairdresser, and you know why? Because I still remember when I was in school. It was probably in the seventh grade, and girls, they most of the times they want to have long hair, and then I went to
Hmm.
the hairdresser, and I just said that I just want to take the dry ends off, like just like
Hmm.
5 centimeters, which is something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And she actually took 10, or like,
Yeah,
let's say
yeah, I
4.
know.
And I was crying. And I still
Yeah,
remember that bad feeling. Well, now I'm more, how to say, flexible, and the length is not that important for me. But back then it was like really big question.
mm.
Now
Well,
I avoid
yeah.
that in my work. I don't want to take more.
For,
Of course,
for instance,
I will give the consultation, and if I see that it would look better, I will give the feedback. But in the end,
yeah,
the client still makes the decision when it becomes to life.
yeah, sure, sure. But when you're working technically, the geometry is very important as well. Really, really important because, for instance, now I know the how the geometry works um, compared to, I mean, related to the bone structure. And if I am going to the salon, I can't just ask somebody to cut my hair. I will just not like it because I will see the mistakes within the geometry, and then I will see this kind of disbalance between the bone structure and the movement of the shape or the line, and it will really, really bother me. And it used to bother me, but unconsciously, I didn't know that. I was thinking, why is it? What is wrong? I don't understand. It's kind of more hair here than it should be, and why is it not moving the way I feel it should move? And when I was asking my friends to cut hair for me, I was always cutting it in the end myself because I just knew that something is wrong. And how did I know that? We all know the way the geometry should work. You know, we know that unconsciously.
Mm-hmm,
We know those rules.
mm-hmm.
It's already in our DNA. We just don't know how to make it right when we don't have those instruments in our hands and the proper understanding of those rules. Then, when we know it, we know how it works, we can follow them, and then we see the harmony. It's this harmony which bothers us, and we always know where is harmony, where is disharmony. When we look at an ugly building, why do we say it's ugly? Why do we know it's ugly? Why do we look at a person and if we see distorted face, we say, oh, this person is not nice, it's not beautiful. How do we know that? Because there's no symmetry there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see right proportions there. That's why we make that conclusion. It's all in our DNA. Nature gave us this knowledge already. We don't have to study in anywhere in any university or school. So if you unconscious in your profession, you try to achieve it kind of visually. And obviously it won't be perfectly correct, mathematically correct. If you make it mathematically correct, then the harmony is so much there
Yeah.
that more likely people will say, oh my God, I love that work. What is it? What is it behind that work? It's the same graduated bulb. Why is it so different from this graduated bulb?
Mhm.
Because this knowledge is there. That's the only difference. That's all.
Cool. Yeah, I love that idea. So, can I just ask if anybody has any questions? Kui teil on veel küsimusi, siis on aeg küsida. Et, as long as we are waiting some extra questions and comments, I will ask one more question from you, Anna. What would be your recommendation for junior hairdresser? Like how to grow yourself?
Mhm.
On what
Um,
pay attention?
I would say don't waste your time because time is the most precious thing on earth. We don't know how long, we will have on this planet. So we need to use it very wisely. That's why if you really chosen this profession, start from the best school. Start from technical, I would say. Cut hair technically because you can go by a different road. I didn't have a choice. I had to go that road, and I had this experience for 12 years. But if I knew this earlier, probably I'd achieve my success much earlier in life. And I think, why not? The earlier you will achieve your success, the earlier you will become really good, the faster you become free in life, the more free time you'll have, the more freedom you'll have. Why not? So yeah, don't get stuck too long in visual hairdressing. If you decided to become a hairdresser, become really truly professional, and you'll be desired by your clients and maybe by some students who will want to learn from you.
That was a
Yeah.
really, really nice recommendation. Yeah, we actually have a question from Kristin. It's in Estonian. She's actually asking how to start dealing with your spiritual side, how to make first steps, how to avoid what's the word now? Like how to avoid stress and also the burnouts in the life.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I think every person should find their own path here. It's really not wise. Would have been. It's not nice to recommend things like that to anybody, because every single person has their own life experience, and they should ask themselves the question like, do I like my life at the moment? What do I like? What I don't like about my life? And do I want to change it? And if you think you do want to change something, you just think how. Ask that question to your own self. How can I change that? And keep asking that question. And the answers will start coming. They will start coming. They will start coming from other people, from situations in life, from YouTube channel, from everywhere. And you will learn yourself. Listen to your own self. Don't listen to anybody, because a lot of people will be telling you only this is right, this is only the path, or yoga is only thing. No, maybe not. Maybe kite surfing is something what will give you some freedom,
Your
or
meditation.
your meditation. Yes, it is like that in life. You should take something at the moment, yours, what's in your heart, what's your heart dictating. You don't listen to people. And if somebody tells you something and you start doing that and you feel uncomfortable, then this is not what you should do. Just find something else. But be careful, listen to yourself, because sometimes people get into traps,
And
this
they also get
spirituality.
lost, yeah, they get lost into the spirituality, sort of.
Yeah,
They're
because
looking for
it's
the
quite commercial now.
from a certain techniques or
Yeah.
stuff, but
But if you want to try yoga, just try asanas, because it's really good for your body. It's quite relaxing, and it's giving you good body shape, and it helps you to stabilize your muscles. So if you enjoy it, do it, because it's the shortest way in spirituality to achieve really, really good things. If we're talking about physical world, you will achieve good health, you will achieve stability within your nerve system, your emotions. That's basics. And I think in our world we need those qualities the most at the moment, and the rest will come naturally. If you need the rest, it will come.
The rest will follow.
Yes.
Kertti is pretty much asking the same thing. Any recommendation for those who are tired and don't know what to do next?
Well, if we are tired, then we're doing something for a very long time, not in a way we'd want to do it. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I think I do. Maybe.
So, yeah, we just have to be honest with ourselves, honest, and we need time to think what we were doing in a way we didn't enjoy, and we just keep telling ourselves, yes, just a bit more,
It will
yeah, just
pass.
a bit longer,
It will get better.
yeah, it will pass, it won't, it will just grow and grow and grow, and eventually it can explode into a disease, or it can explode into just, you'll start feeling as if you don't enjoy life anymore, and that's the worst what can happen
Yeah, and that
to
can
people.
lead to the burnout. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And don't wait till it happened, because it will happen, and it will put you into the place where you will be able to sit down and think. Do it before it happened, then it will be much easier
Yeah,
to
otherwise
come
the
out of it.
body does it for you, sort of.
Yeah, sometimes people don't listen to science because their own body talking to them, and they don't listen to those screams sometimes, and they keep doing, and eventually they just break their leg or their arm, or they get ill, or something happens like quite dramatic, and then they just forced to stop, and there's no way. It's like with coronavirus. It's a really good example. We've been doing to our what we've been doing to our planet, years and years and years, torturing it. Just all this lifestyle what people had for so many years, and now we forced to stop. We're forced to think, what can we do now? We should change something. So that's how it works, I think.
Yeah. What can we do differently?
Hmm.
What are the things we can change?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else you would like to share with all Estonian hairdressers? As
Yes,
our nice interview.
I'm really glad that I got stuck in my own country, my own town. I was born in Tallinn, and I was forced to stay here with my mom. I think I was the same. I was just like, yes, another seminar, yes, another thing I have to do, and I didn't give time to my own mother for so many years, and now we're staying together every day, and we're learning about each other, and I learned about my mom, and she learned about me probably within those 3 months, more than in entire life. So I want to wish to every single person in Estonia to take this time as a big gift, and to give this time to people you love, your family. Don't try to make yourself busier, and try to escape from this situation. No, just stop. It's really good for us to stop and just to spend time with people we love the most, and give them this time, because time goes fast. That's my wish for everybody.
Thank you.
And thank you.
So warm, which is, yeah, it made me very emotional, but in a good way. Yeah, thank you for the interview. You are a true inspiration when it comes to your work, and overall, you are such a nice person.
Thank you so much. Thank you for those
Hopefully
words
we
and
can
for this
have
opportunity.
you soon here for a training as well. And we have Kertti here saying spasiba.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
Aitäh.
Aitäh. Nägemist.
Kõige head teile. Kõige head.